As we know that about the ankle anatomy very well, I think better to know the pediatric ankle anatomy also as well. We know that the distal tibial epiphysis ossifies between 6 and 12 months of age, and the medial malleolus appears at 7 years in girls and 8 years in boys. The distal aspect of the tibia is completely ossified by 14 to 15 years of age and fuses with the diaphysis at 18 years. The distal fibula ossifies during the second year of life, but usually it closes later than your distal tibial epiphysis, that is 12 to 24 months. And we know that in the closure of the ossification of the distal tibial metaphysis, usually it starts closes at the central, then it goes on the medial side, finally it closes in the lateral side. The entire process lasting approximately 18 months. That's why the physeal fractures in the lateral distal tibial physis occurs without occurring on the medial side. And all of us know that distal physis can contribute to 40 to 45% of our tibial growth. And also it's important to know all the ligaments which are attached to the tibia and fibula, like anterior inferior tibial fibula ligament, posterior and intraosseous ligaments, and medial and lateral ligaments, because all of us know the ligament structures are more stronger than the physis in children, hence avulsion injury is also very common. When it comes to the incidence of these pediatric ankle fractures, around 25 to 40% commonly occurs between 8 to 15 years old when they are in the closure times. So mechanism of injury could be a direct trauma or could be more often sports injuries where the rotation about a fixed foot and ankle. Routine imaging can be AP, Martis and lateral can be done, and also better to have a full length X-rays to rule out any Maisonneuve type of fractures in the fibular side. Always a CT scan helps to assess in the fracture displacements, especially in the articular step off and especially in the triplanar fractures where you want to do all the planes of your fracture displacements. Coming to the classification, the Diaz and Deccan classification is just a modification of your Long-Hansen's classification, where there is a supination inversion injury, so you can see that the medial side and the lateral side fracture, the medial side, tibial side fracture is like a type 3 or 4 Salter-Harris Salter-Harris fracture. The distal fibula is a Salter-Harris type 1 fracture. Supination plantar flexion injury is a Salter-Harris type 2 fracture. You can see the displaced metaphyseal fragment along with the medial side. Again, the supination external rotational fracture is more on the metaphyseal level of the distal side, tibial side, and also the fibular side. Again, the pronation, eversion, and external rotational fracture, again, more happen in the physis and also metaphyseal fragment, more on the lateral side, like Salter-Harris type 2 fracture. And the fibular level, usually they above the syndesmosis. And also, we should not forget about the Tillos fractures due to avulsion of inferior tibiofibular ligament. Usually travels from the distal fibula to the distal lateral tibial epiphysis. When an external rotational force is applied, the distal tibial epiphysis is avulsed. This is due to the asymmetric closure, which already we discussed about in the anatomical description. This is just contrary to the supination inverse injury, where you have the same fracture but happening on the medial side. This is the Tillock's fracture seen in the CT scan and fixed with the anterolateral approach, fixed with the screws. Again, the triplanar fracture is the result of characteristic, again, asymmetric closure. Usually, it has several variations, represents around 5 to 10% of pediatric intra-articular ankle fractures. The fracture typically presents in the children age group of 12 to 15 years, incidence slightly higher in boys. Usually, mechanism of injury is external rotational force applied to the supinated foot. It can be in the 3 planes like axial plane, sagittal plane, and frontal plane. It can be in the 2 parts or 3-part fractures like this. So it's very important in these cases. The CT scan will help in know the fracture fragments and management. And most of the non-displaced, even triplanar fracture, can be managed with the long leg cast for 8 weeks time. Now, displaced fractures, if it is an intra-articular reduction to within 2 mm is required. If it is more than that, then need an open reduction. And also, we should not forget about accessory centers of ossification, because often mistaken for an avulsion injury and best evaluated by assessing the presence of tenderness. Distal to the medial and lateral malleolus. Medial malleolus is very common, it's around 20%, and the lateral malleolus it's only 1%. Now, coming to the general management of all these pediatric ankle fractures, our treatment goal is to achieve and maintain the satisfactory reduction to avoid the physeal arrest. And also, if you see the supination plantar flexion injury like this, even the displacement is huge, but most of them can be reduced closely. The majority of the ankle fractures in children can be treated by close reduction. However, the reduction should be performed as gently as soon as possible to avoid having to use considerable force. Each delay makes it more difficult to achieve fracture reduction because it places the viability of the physis at risk. The time from injury to treatment, usually within less days, it's easy to do a gentle reduction. But if it goes more than that, it should be avoided because of the increased vascularity risk to the physis. Initial deformity can be accepted, especially in the sagittal plane. It can remodel later. Then if the deformity is in the coronal plane, still you allow for consolidation. You can do a corrective osteotomy at a later date. So when you do indications for the operative management, so whenever you are not able to achieve and maintain close reduction, displaced physeal fractures, displaced interarticular fractures, and open fractures, and ankle fractures with a significant tissue injury where you cannot maintain your close reductions. Of course, we know all the principles of the fixation. Most of us know that most of them. So, because transepiphyseal fixation, best if possible, you should not violate the physis to prevent your physeal injuries. And transphyseal fixation, if you want to do a transphyseal, better do a smooth wire fixations. This is one of the supination inversion injury. We can see that the transepiphyseal screws, which can be used by canceller screws, or you can use cannulated screws, 1 or 2, depending upon the fracture displacement and compression. It's a 13-year-old boy. Again, you can see that the Salter Harris type 2 fracture. It can be fixed with transmetaphyseal screws. This is another fracture. It's a type 4 fracture of Salter Harris type 2. Again, both transepiphyseal and transmetaphyseal screws can give a very good reduction, get good results. But whenever you have a physeal separation where you want to cross the physis, then better to use the smooth KOS, which can be removed after 6 to 8 weeks time to minimize the physeal injuries, to prevent the lateral angular deformities. This is a 1-year follow-up with a good outcome. It is very important to monitoring of a distal tibial physis with a serial radiograph or sonogram, whether to do a close reduction or an open fixation for every 6 months. Because if growth arrest is suspected, then screw removal followed by CT or MRI necessary to fully define the present or extent of physeal osseous bridge is very important. This is one of the paper, which is a good paper. I saw they reviewed around 83 physeal fractures and epiphyseal injuries. Most of them are closed injuries that are treated with close reduction, and 27% they got operated. And they found the varus deformity in 4 patients and some painful limitation of ankle movements in 2 other children has got overgrowth of medial malleolus. So the complications, all of us are aware about the post-traumatic arthritis, stiffness, reflex sympathetic dystrophy, of course leg discrepancies, angular deformities, delayed union or non-union still can happen, valgus deformity secondary to malunion. So the growth arrest is the most important aspect in the pediatric ankle fractures, which are all worried about. So medial malleolus, especially the Salter Harris type 4, has the highest rate of growth arrest. The posterior arrest can lead to the angular deformities. We know that if it happens in the distal fibular side, it can go for a valgus deformity. If it is in distal tibia, it can go for a varus deformity. So complete arrest leads to leg length discrepancies. So the late deformities, especially in the varus deformities, you can do a corrective osteotomy by doing a open ridge osteotomy, so they can give a very good results. So the valgus deformities also, if it results from inadequate reduction of the pronation or lateral rotation fractures, if the valgus tilt of the ankle is more than 15 to 20 degrees, will not correct by remodeling with the skeletal growth, must be treated surgically. Sometimes when we have a sufficient growth, then we can manage with the epiphyseal arrest or the opposite epiphyseal disease on the middle distal tibia to allow the lateral tibia and distal fibula to continue to grow and correct the deformity. Then if the growth arrest happen, then later on we can do a corrective osteotomies. To conclude, computed CT scan definitely is helpful in the preoperative planning, especially in the triplanar fractures, and also the post-reduction assessment for intra-articular pediatric ankle fractures. Most of the non-displaced fractures can be managed with the cast immobilizations. Physeal ankle fractures in younger children should be considerable growth remaining, should be followed closely for at least 1 year after injury for every 6 months, as growth may result in substantial angular deformities. And open reduction and internal fixation should be strongly considered when an articular step off of less than 2 mm cannot be maintained by closed means by Salter Harris type 3 or 4 under triplanar ankle fractures. Thank you.